Welcome back to Rare Connection, the podcast that where we shine a light on the powerful stories of people living with rare conditions. I'm your host, Joanna, and today's episode features an extraordinary guest, Saida Mahoney. Uh, see, she's a beauty queen, a writer, advocate, athlete, and podcaster who lives with a ultra rare with ultra rare genetic condition called Partial Trisomy 8q Duplication Syndrome. Despite facing epilepsy and neurological challenges, Sid has turned her journey into a platform for advocacy and empowerment. She is the author of 9 books and a national disability and rare disease activist and a podcast pageant queen. Her story is about resilience, strength, and redefining what it means to have to live with a rare condition. Say that. Welcome to Rare Connection. Could you start by sharing your diagnosis story and what it's like to grow up with partial trisomy 8q duplication syndrome?
Sure. So, I my genetic disease is an extremely ultra rare condition, and it affects me in all areas and all ways, and it caused me to be medically complex and medically fragile, and it caused me to have lots of challenges with my learning and with my growth and many more other things. It affects me with my communication, and it affects me in developmentally, neurodevelopmentally, neurologically, and neurodegenerative, and it affects me with my GI, and I have disabilities due to my genetic disease. I had to go through a lot of different challenges to get good care, and as I got older, it gotten way more challenging for myself due to all the things that I due to my things I identify with, and I faced a lot of discrimination and exclusion. And as a person with my genetic disease and the member of the LGBTQ community, I had to fight harder to get equal access to care. I had to learn how to navigate the health system of everything. And I had to learn how to get my doctors to understand me and how to help me in the way that's safe and comfortable, because a lot of people who have rare genetic diseases like myself and are medically fragile, medically complex, and are members of the LGBTQ community disabled, we have to fight way harder than the average person who is not part of the community. And I had to learn how to navigate school, friendships, therapy services, treatment services, and I had to learn about who I was and how to get through everything, because I was always struggling, and I struggle with mentally, emotionally, and as a person who have multiple identities in the LGBTQ community, medically fragile, I had to constantly educate my medical team about who I am and how I am and what I'm about. And as a person who is transgender, I had to constantly get through the battle of discrimination in healthcare setting because none of the people who I worked with was not really understanding. It was not open about it and was always excluding me. So I had to get through that. And then I felt so much comfort in doing my writing and my podcast channel about everything. And I got to a point where I did not want nobody to go through the struggle that I went through in my journey of living with my rare diseases and being part of the community, being a person who is medically fragile, medically complex and disabled. And because there's so many people who are struggling and they don't know what to do.
Um, Back to where we were. For listeners who may not be familiar, can you explain what this condition is and how it affects you day to day?
My genetic disease is called Partial Trisomy AQ Duplication Syndrome. For short, is Partial Trisomy AQ. And it is a chromosomal duplication syndrome, and it affects me in all areas, in all ways, and it affects me with my growth, my development, my speech and language abilities, my GI. It affects me with my learning. It affects me with my development. It affects me neurologically, neurodevelopmentally, neurodegenerative, and neuromuscular as well. And it affects me physically, cognitively, mentally, and emotionally, and it affects me with my growth, and it affects me in a lot of other, many other different areas as well. And I receive lots of therapy treatment, and it affects me a lot with friends and trying to get good health care. And it affects me where I have to get a lot of medical care and therapy services of all types. I also receive mental health care due to my genetic disease because it affects me a lot mentally and it causes me to have complex mental health disabilities. And I also had to get navigate through a lot of different obstacles by me being medically fragile, medically complex due to my genetic disease, and as a member with multiple identities in the LGBTQ community, and as a person who is transgender as well, I had to learn how to get through everything, and I had to learn how to handle everything and educate my medical team and get them to understand how to best assist me in everything that I live with because nobody was not really open to helping me by me being part of the community. And it was very, very hard and challenging because I faced so much exclusion and discrimination due to myself being part of the community with multiple identities as well with my genetic disease, my other rare diseases, and my disabilities and my chronic medical condition. And I had to learn how to navigate through that. And then I end up getting to a point where I wanted to help people and use my voice and share my story to help people in the community so that they know that they are not alone in what they are going through wherever they are in their diagnosis in their diagnostic journey, because there's so many people out there who are struggling the way I do, and everybody deserves to have equal access to care and inclusion and acceptance, no matter who they are, what they are, how they identify themselves with. Everybody deserves equal access to everything.
You've been very open to about your experience with epilepsy and different types of seizures, focal, grand mal, idiopathic, and absence. What has your what has your journey with the epilepsy been like?
It has been very challenging in some areas, and it was very rough in some ways because I had to fight hard to get people to understand me, because a lot and I lost a whole lot of friends due to it, and I haven't really had the chance to really have that much support with for myself with epilepsy due to me being a member of the LGBTQ community and being transgender, and a lot of the people who I wanted to work with for my epilepsy, they was not open to having a transgender person at all. And so I had to get through that obstacle and figure out how to get the best care for myself with my epilepsy. And my neurologist and my neurogenetics doctor are both so wonderful with me, and they so helpful with me, where they make sure that I'm okay with my epilepsy. They very mindful of me, and they respect me and my identities, and they are very supportive of me by me being transgender, and they make sure that I have the medicine that I have to treat my epilepsy, and I have wonderful programs to help me. I'm part of a lot of the good support groups to help me out, and my medicine helps me, and I'm able to meet have connections to other people who are going through what I deal with, and everybody very helpful with me. And my most challenging seizures that I deal with is my absence seizures, because they very challenging for me sometimes. But my neurogenetics doctor, she did, and my neurologist do wonderful jobs helping me with it, and I know how to cope with everything, and I know how to handle myself better now that I'm getting older.
So, how has your medical team, including your neurologist um, uh, and neurogeneticist, doctor, has supported you in managing these challenges?
They very supportive of me. They make sure that I am seen and heard, and they make sure that I am respected, and they make sure that I feel that I have a voice with my health care by me being a transgender person and a multiple identity person in the LGBTQ community. They make sure that I feel like I have a safe place where I can talk about everything without being judged or excluded or uncomfortable. They make sure that the places I go to are LGBTQ friendly. They make sure that I'm in places where I feel like I could be myself, and I can be my authentic self as well, and not have to be afraid about anything. They make sure that I have all the services that I need, and they make sure that when they put me involved with support groups and organizations to help me, they make sure that they are okay with having people who are transgender, and they make sure they're okay with having somebody who have other identities within the LGBTQ community, because I identify with multiple identities in the LGBTQ community, so they have to make sure that I'm supported in each category of my identities that I have, from the genders all the way down. And they make sure that if I do therapy, that the therapy is mindful of it. It's a process of everything, and they very very wonderful with me, and they take excellent care of me.
Mm. So you've taken these personal challenges and turned them into advocacy. What inspired you to become a national rare disease advocate and disability activist?
I was inspired to do it because I wanted to help people, and I didn't want anyone to struggle the way I did. And it is so many people in the world who are dealing with a lot of diagnoses of rare diseases like myself, and it's so many people who are navigating life with disabilities and medical conditions, and are medically complex and medically fragile. And it's so many people in all of the above communities that are members of the LGBTQ community and are transgender, and there is no support for those communities. And I am using my voice to and my platform to bring awareness to it, and I wanted to get involved in the most powerful way to help people feel heard and seen in all backgrounds, in all communities, everywhere. And I started off with my writing. I started off with doing my WordPress channel, and I did a lot of writing on there. And at the time, I didn't formally come out as a member of the LGBTQ community, but I was out a little bit within the community, and as a transgender person, as a transgender male specifically. And I always just wrote about me and my disabilities and my genetic disease and all my other rare diseases. And then I ended up wanting to do more, so I wrote more on my channel. And then I end up writing my WordPress channel, end up me going through the Wattpad platform and writing my ebooks on there. And then those two things led me to do my podcast channel. And my podcast channel got, and my WordPress channel, all my books got viewed from people from all over the country. And it led me to go to Washington, D.C. to advocate for people. And I travel everywhere to advocate for people. I been to the U.S. Capitol and talk with all our elected leaders from all states and backgrounds to help bring change and awareness. And I also been to my state capital and other state capitals to help people. And then I end up getting involved in my beauty pageant, and it gave me a bigger platform to help do more good in the world, and to help bring more change, and to help support people who are dealing with so many challenges. and I just been doing it for a long, long time, and I've been making sure that I serve with honor and grace for all the communities, as well as the LGBTQ community and the transgender community as well.
So, why do you think it's important to um, raise awareness for epilepsy and the rare disease and IDD communities?
Epilepsy is very, very underlooked in the IDD communities, and there is no support at all in the area. People always overlook the disability community and people with intellectual disabilities that are living with epilepsy because they think that we don't understand what we are dealing with, and they think we don't have the abilities to talk about what we are dealing with and what's going on in our bodies and health. And the reality is we do know what's going on, and we are very aware of it. We may have different ways of communicating of what it look like and feel like, but we know what's wrong with us, and we know what's supposed to be normal and not normal, and we know what we're supposed to deal with, and we know our challenges and limits. We have many, many different ways of expressing that to people and expressing ourselves in the healthcare settings. Some people with IDD have the ability to communicate with sign language or writing or an AAC device. And it's so many with epilepsy where we we are often excluded from epilepsy care. And I wouldn't want nobody to go through the challenges of what I had to go through with my epilepsy. And I just been advocating harder and more stronger about life with epilepsy due to genetic diseases and rare diseases, as well as having IDD. And I just want, and I've been using my voice, my platform to help bring awareness to it and help make a difference.
So, you're not only an advocate, you're also a pageant queen, a performing artist, and an athlete, a college student, and a writer of 9 books. How do you balance so many roles?
I like everything that I do. I believe in making time for everything. I always take time out of each day to make everything work. I have everything organized. Like I do everything like it all myself. I do it in more time, and then I have more things to do. I plan for the afternoon time, evening and nighttime. And when I was in college, I used to go full time, part time, but now I do my advocacy work and my activism work and leadership work full time now. So I have more time to help people out, and I do school class work through Zoom through a specialized education program, and I do my performing arts. I do my music, dance, and theater, and I also get to do my performing arts when I do my beauty pageants, and I also do everything and my other programs that I do as well. And I just love to make time for everything. I've recently published my 10th book on my Wattpad platform, and I always like to take every time out my schedule to help do things that I can do to help people and advocate for people to serve. And I love to have things to do where I can make a difference no matter how small or how big it is. And I don't have no time limit for anything. I'm I know mine being up late to help people, And I know mine being up real early to help people. I just love to do it, and I'm very passionate about doing it.
So can you tell us about one of your books or creative projects that you're most proud of?
I'm very, I feel very proud of my WordPress channel and all my 10 books that I wrote, because it they have helped so many people in so many different ways, and in their by journey, and they help people realize that they are not alone no matter where they are in their life, and no matter where they are in their journey of navigating the LGBTQ community, or struggling to come out to people who they love or friends. I came out formally at my beauty pageant of my nationals back in July, and I wrote about that in my books, and how it's okay to know when you are ready, and how it's so many people who have disabilities and rare diseases who are part of the community. And I feel very proud of my podcast as well, because it's in so many countries, helping people know that they are not alone.
Mhm. So with a, oh, let's see. Oh, let's see. You said I may have a chronic condition. I may have chronic conditions, but they don't have me. I have epilepsy, but it doesn't define who I am. What advice would you give to others living with rare diseases or epilepsy who may be struggling with identity or self confidence?
I would tell them that the epilepsy does not run who you are, and your conditions do not define who you are as a person. You define your conditions and what it means for you to live with whatever diagnosis you have and navigate life with. It does not define who you are. You can be whoever you want to be in this world. You can do whatever you want to do in this world. You can do so much good, and you can use your voice and your skills and your background to help make a difference for people who are live with epilepsy or disabilities or rare diseases, or as a member of the LGBTQ community, or if the person is transgender. You can go out and do a lot of different things to help bring positive change and awareness to everything. And you can go out and help people. It doesn't it doesn't discourage you, and it does not end nothing about what you do. You can enjoy life regardless of whatever your condition is. It just means you might have to do things differently, but it is definitely possible to do whatever you want to do and whatever you love doing. You can still go out there. You could be an athlete. You could be a singer. You could be a dancer, a writer, songwriter, podcaster, activist, an advocate. Whatever you are passionate about doing, you can most definitely do it. And your diagnosis should not discourage you for what you want to do in life. You define what it means.
Mhm. Sid, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story with us today. You're showing the world that living with epilepsy and a rare condition doesn't mean life stops. It means you redefine strength, uh, resilience, and beauty on your own terms. To our listeners, if you'd like to learn more about Saida's advocacy work, her books, or her journey as a rare disease activist, You can find the links in the show notes. As always, don't forget to subscribe to Rare Connection and my YouTube channel, Rare Chef. Join the conversation and comment below on YouTube, or use the send me a text link in the show notes on the audio side. And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help. You can call the mental health and epilepsy support are in the descriptions. Until next time, you can call 988, or the other number is you can text hello to 741-741. I will have in the descriptions also, but see, until next time, this is Joanna, and reminding you to keep connecting, to keep sharing, and to keep sharing your story. Thanks.